Welcome to today's class. In today's class, I will be introducing us to Adobe Illustrator. Why is this important? Why do I need to introduce you people to this? Is because, just like, explainer video is like the advanced form of, whiteboard session. That's whiteboard presentation. Now we view this like application of technology into the whiteboard presentation, teaching people through whiteboard. So in that process of doing whiteboard presentation, there's usually illustration, there's usually graphics that someone draws to explain their point. So this time around, we are just using graphics to explain our point. So there's no graphics, right? Is part and parcel of using, as in using graphics to give a visual interpretation of the concept that we're trying to sell, that we're trying to get across is a very crucial aspect of the whole explainer video. So now, and how do we now get these graphics into our After Effects? First of all, they usually come for me where some people use CorelDRAW, but you know in all the Adobe suites, right? We have Illustrator, then if also Photoshop, then After Effects. So they work very well. I think for some people, there's a way you can actually after doing your illustration in CorelDRAW, you can convert it to Adobe Illustrator. But instead of doing all those hassle, many times it's just best just learn Adobe Illustrator if really you want to, if really you are really looking into animation very much, if you are really considering animation, just learn. Just if you're in the CorelDRAW space, please find a way to come into the Adobe Illustrator camp. So um, this is a folder here. So once you come in here, remember our file organization. Like today is just very simple. The major thing, I won't be using plenty files, so I only just have my um A AE, that's After Effects, Illustrator, and Reference. Now, yes, before I get my, like, what I normally do, okay, once I have a concept, and explainer video can be very long to, from just a short thing like a few seconds to like 3 to 5 minutes. Now, within those interval, they usually, you now have to break them down at every point in time. There's a particular concept that you're passing across. So this today, right? The illustration that I have that I'll be using for this sample is more of a search engine, right? Either search engine optimization, or we are using it to tell them to, okay, for you to get to our site, type www dot blah 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 dot this thing. So that's what this concept, that's what this illustration is about. That's what we are using this to give a visual interpretation. It is search engine. So how I normally do it is that once I have my concept, okay, search engine, I usually go to, a very good there's this very good site. Like the site is very, very, very good. Like it helps me a lot. I come to this site. It's called freepick.com. Here, can you see it here? Freepick.com. And here you can see my search. Actually did this is my search. So I have my concept I want to portray, that I want to give visual interpretation. At that particular time, this is like search engine, right? We are searching for something. So I came here, I typed search engine. So I saw, start seeing this. So you just need to double click once you see the particular this thing you like. Now it's free. There is a free version, and there are some ones that are premium. You need to pay the premium before you can access some of them. So yeah, that's what I did, and I double clicked on it and did the free download. So that's how I got this. That's how I got this file here. And though it didn't come as search engine initially, I renamed it to search engine. So where understand is, I'm also, to a large extent, I'm also doing a breakdown of my workflow here, how I also work. Because yes, to yeah, um to me, this class that I'm doing is not so much of okay, introduce you people to, the emphasis is majorly about the workflow and assignment, and not so much of, because there are plenty materials, like as I said, out there. So if you want to really do all of that, so it's just for me to give you my own workflow. So yes, once we, it's supposed to come as, many times you have Illustrator 5, but this is EPS. It's one of the vector 5 formats. So what you do is, well, after downloading it, you double click to open it in Illustrator. So this is what we have. So the first thing, okay, before I start doing this, yes, before I start to dive deep more, right? Yes, once you open your Illustrator, right? You know what? Let me do open new, right? Yes, all of this, many times you get to see this. Yeah, but once you say start a new project, right? It usually gives you the option of okay, should you start a new, once you say start a new project, you come. This is the option it gives you. Now, all of these they are called different artboard. All these options here are called different artboard, and it's giving me these options because okay, here are my recent items. That's recent artboard I've used, and you can always come to, if I've saved anyone. I've not saved anyone. You can always come to mobile, web, right? Then film. So since we are doing video, since we are into video, right? And I've said before now, yeah, since we are doing video, the very, very, very industry standard dimension is this 1920 by 1080. Though there are like 4K, 2K, and all of that, but communicating on the commercial communication, right? The online communication is still, and in Nigeria for now, it's still very much into just full HD. We've not really started, exploring for 4K. 4K and all of this is usually for film. You get when people need to submit their film to cinema and all of that. But if it's just to put on Facebook and all of that, a full HD is okay. Full HD is a 1920 by 1080 is okay. So this is the HD. This 720, that's 1280 by 720 dimension is the HD. Then full HD, right? Is 1920 by 1080. So this is the one you just need to know for now, right? Once you have this, double click on it, though it gives you, once you click, so this is like you're choosing a preset, right, that they've already prepared for you, but you can always come here to change and to change the option. Like this, it gives you the option of creating multiple artboard, like more than, maybe before now you've known that okay, in this project as I'm starting it, I need to have more than one artboard, so you can do that here. I think, let me just select three. Then once I press create, you understand what I mean by artboard. If you don't understand what artboard is, then all these ones I've known many times. I don't even touch all these ones. I don't even touch all these options. So just click create, then it takes us here. Now, many times, can you see? Many times I usually don't like to choose that option of video, right? What do I mean by the option of video? Once I go back, I want to press Control N now to create a new file, to create a new document. Many times I don't usually like choosing this option of film. Why? It's because of this thing, this background it puts. Many times I just want something, I just want it white. As such, I usually come here. How do I do that? I think I usually come to print, just choose anyone you print, then I change it to pixels. Yeah, then I change everything to 1920. That's, I type 1920 by 1080. That's full HD. So once I click create, see it's white, right? It doesn't have all those bars that makes it feel film, and I just don't like it. So with this, Yeah, but however, you see, it created three. There's a three of this. There's a three of this to see where to have control over this, right? You go to Windows and Artboard. Artboard. Yeah. So here it is. See, there are three artboards. So artboard is just where when the artist is drawing. That's when artist is painting. The what was it called, the board that the artist puts his the board that the artist is working on is the artboard. Let's just put it down, is artboard. So for each project it can allow you to have multiple forms of artboard, right? So this is artboard 3. So I can actually come here. Remember how I got here? I went to Windows, then clicked on artboard. I can actually, okay, so I double clicked on it and it zoomed into this artboard 3. So I can always come here and delete each one, right? But that's not that well, that's just to tell you what artboard is, right? So but this is how to create, if you're just starting from scratch, this is how to create a new project inside Illustrator. But today our focus is not so much about yeah, where I want to start is actually having, what's it called, imagine, okay, you have an explainer video. They are explaining a concept that has to do with search engine, right? That has to do with search, making a search, right? Then you've gone to Freepik, you've typed in your search engine, you've done your search and you've downloaded it, right? To open it, you double click, which I did the other time. I double click to open it. Yeah, to open it. So I'm here. So the tools available to us here, well, this is just a quick intro. If you want more, you can always there are plenty of these things online for introduction to Adobe Illustrator. So the crucial tool here is this selection tool, and the shortcut is V. That's one here. Selection is V. Then there is the direct selection. What do I mean by direct selection? Usually when an object, with this, it allows you to select a particular object even after you've grouped them, right? Even when an object is grouped, because if an object is grouped and I'm trying to select it with this black arrow, right, with this selection tool, which is a black arrow selection, if an object, you can see all everything here is grouped. So once I try selecting it, right, with this black arrow, and the shortcut is V for this, it selected everything in a particular group. But if I want to make a specific selection of just one particular item, the better selection tool to use is the A. That is this direct selection, and the shortcut is A. I just press A, and okay, let me click out now and select. You can see I want to select her leg here to edit the leg, right? So I've done direct selection this time. Then after that, we have our pen tool. We have our pen tool, which we use to draw. You know what? To demonstrate that, let me come here to this, which we use to draw. Let's say you want to draw. Yes, let's say yes, you just want to draw something. This is it. Then you know what? Like I will give you people links to videos. Yeah, there will be links, or you can do research on YouTube on introduction to, so that I wouldn't waste. All I just need to do here is for you to understand how to, okay, once your graphics comes in a raw form, how do you package it now? How do you package it to suit the project that you're working on? How do you now format it to suit the project you're working on? Like, what's the workflow like, right? So that's the focus here now. I'm not so much focused, and the very crucial tool that I normally use for that, I think it's just this three that I've just introduced you people to. Yes, then any other one, we will get to know that as I work on this So the major thing is just for you to see me work on this, format this whole thing as it's just coming raw. I format it to suit the project I'm working on. So the first thing I do, I need to turn, because the artboard now, right, is not, because as I said, the industry standard, especially for Nigeria now, is 1920 by 1080, right? But this now, if I come to this, yes, and a way to, this is it. The way to know your artboard dimension and all of that is come here, you click this, right? It's selected this. Yes, then you now come to property. You come to property. Okay. Yeah, you come to property. Once you see and you see this property, you can see that it is 1500 by, it is 1500 by 28,000. That's not what we want. We want full HD. So a way to quickly get that is you come here, you come to presets, custom presets, click here, then you scroll down, you should see this Google Pixel, right? It's also 1920 by 1080, right? But to be on a very safer side, it's just to come to this HD 1920 by 1080. You click on it, so you can see that the artboard itself is bigger than our 1920 by 1080 this time, but many times it usually comes smaller. You now need to scale everything up, but this time around we need to scale everything down. So once this is done, you click on either select V or click on this selection tool, right? And come to, you know what, let me put this one down here. Then you come in. So since we've discovered that, okay, the dimension of the dimension, and remember also, mind you, yes, in as much as this is the industry standard, right, sometimes the client might actually prefer a particular dimension, right, may give a specific dimension other than the industry standard dimension size. So as such, all of that will control what the dimension, this dimension I just put in here. Yeah, apart from, so once I select this, right, you can actually impute it straight rather than having to, you can actually impute the distance straight rather than having to, okay, here, this is it here rather. This is 1920 by 1080 and not the other one that I was pointing at. Okay, this is 1920 by 1080. So you can actually punch in the okay, let me make this bigger. Let me make this 2200, 22,000 by, you can see it's changing by 28. You can see I've just expanded it, right? So, but for the cost of this, right, we are just assuming now that our client wants just the standard, the full HD, just the full HD. That's what our client wants. So I will come back here to go to custom. So this is just, that's just to demonstrate to you, you can actually put in the particular number. You can actually punch in the particular number. So I'll come back here and choose my HDV, right? Then once that is done, I have my selection to the V selection tool. Then I scale everything down to fit the dimension. Okay, mind you, as I want to scale, this to scale things down, to scale it down, you just need to come here, hover your in any particular corner, right? Just hover your mouse there, then it changes. You can see it changes from this mouse icon to this particular icon here, right? Then I hold Shift and Alt to maintain proportion. I hold Shift and Alt before I start dragging, right? Before I start dragging, I think this is about it. Yes, this is about it. So, and I can hold Alt. I try scrolling in now. I just want to zoom in. A very good way to zoom in okay, you can press your, if you are not using a mouse, right, you can press Control plus to zoom in, Control plus to zoom in, or holding your alt, holding alt, you scroll with your mouse, you scroll up and down to zoom in or out, zoom in and out. So I think this is about it. So I can click out here now to start reformatting. So for me to format, the first thing you need to ask yourself, now this is one of the things that differentiates a pro, what's it called, a professional looking, um, um, a professional looking work, yeah, explainer video from an average explainer video. For an average person, once they bring in the asset that kind of portray the concepts that they are at that particular time that they are trying to pass across, they are good enough. Or even when you look at some people's presentation, I think this might actually speak to plenty of people in this class. Many times when they are doing presentation, once they just go on what's it called, on Google, and they type the name, the particular thing that they want, they just bring the image and put it in there. They don't take the time to like format. What do I mean by format? A crucial part of formatting is your color scheme, and you don't just choose color scheme. Let's say, for instance, now, let's say the client that we are doing this whole thing for now, I'm just taking his TCN, that's Covenant, the Covenant Nation, right? Then the next thing you now need to do is the color scheme, right? You now need to look at the color scheme, and a very good way to get is the color scheme for any particular brand is to go to their website, right? Which I've done. You can see here. I went to, okay, this is the Instagram. I've screen grabbed the Instagram page, right? And also, yes, this is the Instagram. But this time around, or their website to like get their color, the feel of what their color is like. But this time around, I'll just be, another very good crucial way is to just focus on the logo. This time around, I'll be focusing on the logo. I'm using the color scheme on the logo to to format my this so that everything will be in unity. Color is a very good way to maintain unity, and that's what one crucial thing I do in the process of formatting. So I can bring this in here. Wait, let me create another folder. To create a folder, to create not a folder rather, to create a layer, a new layer, you come here, you click this, then I can have this as reference. Yeah, and all of this is coming from here because there's this intro to AI file, right? I have After Effects, then I have AI, and I have my reference, right? So all of them is sitting here. So I can bring this into the project, and remember I created a new layer for it. What's this saying? Are you sure you want to convert colors to a destination document? Yes. So I have this, but interesting enough, the colors are like, there are some colors that are already matching. You can see this, not very much exact, but is in the same, okay, I think this and this, but is in the same, is the same value, almost the same value. They are, yeah, they are of not like, they are not much different. They are not like clashing. I think this, let me do this direction. This right is very close to this particular color. Well, yes, color, yeah. And many times I do what, I just remove this from the artboard so it doesn't disturb, just have it outside here. So then the next thing I now need to start looking is, how do I need to in animating this everything here, right? What and what do I need to animate? Yes, in animating this, it means I need to break all of this into different components, into different layers, right, into different body. So with that, it means that this lady now needs to be of a different layer. So let's say once everything is coming in, I can like slide her through here. So once it slides in, once this search bar is sliding in, let me say that right. Once this search bar is sliding in, right, I can also slide that in, or they come in both at the same time. So it becomes necessary for me to separate her. And yeah, where to start now is, okay, I need to select everything here and I press Ctrl Shift G. Now Ctrl G groups layers, then Ctrl Shift G on groups. So once I do Ctrl Shift G, then you can see they are no longer, before once I select one, everything was selected, but this time around now it allows me to select this alone. So I can even come here and scroll down and see what's happening inside this layer. So you can see everything that have been put together as one before, but they are now separate. So I can come in here and say, and yeah, and create a new layer for her first of all, and name it lady one, right? Then I can Control X, that's to cut, not Control C, Control X, I cut that away. Then I come to layer 1 and I Control F to paste in place. I want to paste her exactly where I collected her from, because I love the composition and everything. I don't want to tamper with that. So I paste her exactly where I collected her from. So Control F. Now if I have done Control V, you can see it pastes her anywhere the computer just prefers. No, that's not what I want. So it's Control F that pastes her. So let me Control Z on that. Control F pastes her exactly this place. So with that now, we have this lady one separated. So I can shy her. I can make her not visible and focus on the other ones. So you can see this lady, this one here needs to be different, right? Then I do Control X also and create a new layer, name lady 2, and Control F. So make her invisible. Then our man to Control X. Or another way to also do this is that once you are here, which is not the fastest way though. Okay, let me create a layer for this man. Let's say man 1, right? Is once you come here, you can like drag. What did I do? I select this, then drag it into man 1, right? So we have our characters separated from the other elements. So these are all our characters. They're separated from this other element. So what other element now do we need differentiated from each other? So for instance, this globe, right? But mind you, yes, with this globe now, you can see this one is in front, right? So it makes more sense for us to, you know what? Okay. Okay, we can remove the globe first, but later we'll put it at the back, right? Because everything is in hierarchy. Yes, there's what is called hierarchy structure, right? The one in front, well, I think we should be aware of the hierarchy structure in whatever, because we must have worked with some other softwares before now. Is that the one in front, right? Once, okay, this now is in front of this globe, right? So since it's in front, it covers this other one, right? You understand? It covers this other one because it's in front. So except you make it transparent, except you come and make this transparent, you can't see this one. So that's what's happening here. So in this layer structure, you can see there is this bar that's a component of that search right here that is covering this thing for Earth. So yes, another very good way to now still maintain this structure is that, okay, I come in here, I create a new layer, right? I drag it down, right? And I name it earth, right? Then I can come in here and drag my earth into this, so it stays at the back, it didn't come to the front. But what's happening here, you can see, okay, you know what, let me control Z. You can see just after this earth, right, the earth is actually in front of some things, some items there. So for instance, this is like the background. Let's say this is the background, right? And this is also another background. This is white, so which we don't really need this white now. It's kind of redundant. We can always create the back just white background in After Effects, so we don't really need that. So I think this is a very good, you know what, before we, okay, since we have earth, it makes more sense. You know what, let's create on that one and call it BG, that's background. Yes, and put it, that's drag it and bring it down here. So we can now drag this one, which is the background, and put it in the background layer, because it makes more, there's just this visual appeal it gives to things when it sits in this kind of background that looks kind of organic. So then we can now drag this and still maintain all the hierarchy, so that we are not scattering any of the hierarchy happening here. So far, what have we been able to do? We've been able to achieve separating the characters, right? And we'll be able to separate this element, this earth, and we'll be able to separate the background. So right now we have this. So the question is that, do we still need to break this down to different layers so that it becomes easier for us to animate? Yes, I think so. Like, for instance, I'm now to select, yes, for instance, I have this floor, which I normally call floor. It needs to be a bit different from all of this. So in doing that, I can come here. So this time around, yeah, so I can come here. So if you see, like, which element is this floor now? Is it interacting with that? Is it sitting over, or something sitting on it? Is only just the BG, right, that is sitting over. So it makes more sense for us to come just immediately above the BG, that's the background, and create a new layer and call it floor. So yes, so we can now, like, since I have it selected, instead of having, so another option, instead of scrolling down to the exact layer, I can just Control X onto my floor. I do Control F, Control F, that's F, yes, to paste. So with all of this, for instance, I think I really need this arrow. Let's say we might need to animate it clicking this icon. So it becomes necessary for us to, you know what, separate it. To Control X and create a new layer and call it arrow, yeah, and Control F. So we may need to separate this one too, and maybe have them fly into, right? So the point is that, just imagine you animating all of this. So if you're animating them, it means you now need to now know, okay, this needs to be of a different element, this needs to be a different element, right? So Control X, then paper, and let's just name it paper 1, and Control F, then cut that, then paper 2. So this is how I separate my layers and make them functional for, oh, I just did Control V instead of Control F. Let me Control Z, Control F. Yeah, make them functional. So I think to a large extent, this as an element is good enough, except we want to do detail animation. Okay, let's, looking at it, I might need to type in why animate. I might need to type in, so it becomes necessary for us to separate this, or even if I delete that, you get. Okay, let's just separate it for now, then later you can now delete it. Search. So yes, and yes, in animating I may need to have this. I may actually need to have this. So let me bring it out and name it bar. Control F. Oh, you can see some issue happening here now. So what just happened? I'm placing this above some element that it should be under. So what are these elements? Like this one and this one, right? So now I can see them here. So I can come in this bar and make sure these ones are above it. So these are sub layers. Yes, then we are good now. So this was the bar, right? So I've made it under these ones now. So this is pretty it. So, and mind you, okay, this is pretty it. So this is just it in a nutshell. So with this, having this lady sliding, this one sliding, I think to some extent, to some animation, it all depends on us also what's the budget of the client. If they, yes, because, and also your presentation, because if you tell them, okay, if you want me to do like high end, right, then it will cost X amount. But if you just want just a normal this thing, then because in looking at this also, I can make it becomes, I can actually make this character much have more life. For instance, separate the hair, like as she's typing, the hair is shaking a little bit, or she's also shaking her head as she's typing. And especially one good work to do here is to have her shake her leg, right, while she's typing, right. Then it means we need to separate her body further than she is now, and also possibly this too. Then she can raise the phone up, or especially this one, you can raise this item up. So yes, let me quickly just go through one. Okay, let me use this as an example and run you through how I would approach that. So I have man one, right? So then you now need to ask yourself, what are the critical um elements in this man now? Let's take this man as an example, now man one as an example, that you need to animate. So in my own mind now, what is playing is I need him to just raise this up. So with that, what are the things that need to now move? It means the arm, right, and the hand need to move a bit, and this. So with that, I can now do Control Shift G, separate all of this, right. Sometimes I can come in here and see what's happening. So first off, I will need this. Oh, I broke this down too much. Okay, this has been broken down for, but I will need these two as a single separated element. That's the search icon. I need it as a separated element, so I can do Control X, right. Oh, this didn't go with it, but let's just place it in its own fold, in its own layer. So I say search underscore icon, yeah, then do Control F. But you can see some, yeah, this is overlapping some things that shouldn't. So what are like, for instance, this should be in there, right. So I can scroll this down and bring this up here, right. So you see, but right now is, in terms of hierarchy, there are something that should be in front of it, like this man's hand should be in front but it's outside. So so this is separated, so I can bring this, can, yeah, bring it out. You know what, let me create and call it judge from his own angle, that is his right hand, right. So I name it right R hand. Then yes, I take it up, but still not in terms of the hierarchy. Yes. Oh no, Control Z. I made the mistake of taking, close this first of all, then take it up here. Yeah, it's up there now. However, if you watch, okay, I think to a large extent, just having this arm alone, I think is enough to sell the idea of to actually just animate him raising the raising this up like this, right? But sometimes that may not really work. You may not need to raise the whole arm, right? You see the whole hand, okay? You don't need to raise the whole hand. You may just need to raise just the shade is the forearm now. Sometimes you may just need to raise the forearm. So in that case, what do we now do? What do we now do? So how I approach it, so we need to separate this upper arm and the lower arm. So what do I do in that case? How I approach it is that I duplicate this, so I can create a new layer, call it arm first of all. So I duplicate this, and another way to, instead of doing Control C, Control F, right, which duplicates, right, you can hold Alt and drag. So I have this selected and I hold Alt. So once I drag, right, I'm dragging it into this. Yeah, so that's another way to duplicate a layer using the layer panel. So I make this invisible first of all and focus on this. So yeah, then I press A. Now I've duplicated this, then I need to shorten this, I need to separate this, right? So at each point in time, I will now focus on, I will delete some extra parts that I don't need. What are parts? These are paths. You can see these are paths. It takes you from here down to here. So it means I don't need, so this time around, okay, let me name it to forearm, F arm, F underscore arm. That's the forearm, which I believe is this first one or the upper one. I can't even remember, but I think it's this first one. So it means I don't need this. But however, so you feel that okay, the way to delete this upper one is just to press delete. But that is not how it works in Illustrator. Once you press delete, it's it's not the best way. It cuts this, it cuts the part, but that's not what we want. So let me do Control Z. The way to approach that is you come here, you have this property. If you don't have it, if you don't have this open, you go to view and click, no, you go to Windows rather. You go to Windows and click property. Yeah, you click this property. Or if you don't have any of this, if you don't have any of this panel that I'm using to work, right, once you come to Windows, just search for them, right, by their name. This is layer, then the layer panel is open. This is artboard. You have it. So you have it here. So in this property, you click this minus, remove anchor. Well, for me, this is how I do. Though I can actually even come here once I click my selection tool. Where is it? There's the option for minus. I can't even find it here, sir. I can't even find it again, sir. But this is how I do. A. Make sure I have this selected as A, right? I come here and okay. You know what? Okay, if I click this A now, you see it starts tampering with the form, because I have minus, that I have deleted plenty parts more than I should have. Let me do Control Z. The better way is that I just come here, still maintaining this one. I come here and edit. See, what am I doing now? I want to drag this. I want to center this so I can see more. So I'm holding. So what did I do? I pressed my space bar first of all to temporarily bring out. I pressed my space bar first of all to temporarily bring out my hand tool. Yeah, once the hand tool is out, then I click and drag to the particular place I want it to be. Then after that, I remove my hand, then Alt, then scroll in, Alt and scroll in to do this, because I need to edit this handle. So, and a very good, if I start editing it now, you can see to a large extent it's affecting the down part, the forearm, right? It's affecting here. But that's not what I want. I love everything here. But this is called Bezier, and the Bezier is like a 2 point. You are using 2 points to to edit something, right? It's all about 2 points coming together. But that's because, okay, I have the point connecting here and I have the point connecting to the top, right? So since I love this point connecting down here, but I need to format the one up here and I don't want to touch this one, right? The way to go about that, Control Z, is that once I have this selected, I hold Alt. Once I have my A2 as my direct selection, I hold Alt and I click, you understand? Then I click and drag to the particular space that I want. Yes, so also that applies to here too. I love this. Okay, no, no, no. This is the arm. From here to here is what I like, right? So I can always drag this more. And mind you, the way character, the way to, yes, when you are overlapping, especially for characters, right? When you want to overlap a particular joint, a particular form to another form, the best shape to use in that joint, right, is to make it round. Because let's say, no, because once I have the upper arm, let's say once I have the upper arm, right, and I want to, and I'm animating here, see, since it's round, right, it won't really give that sense of disjoint, that okay, this is not connected to this. Whereas in actuality, this is separate from this, right? You get? So it becomes easier to like still maintain form of unity that okay, things are overlapping correctly when they are in round, when they are in round shape. So with this now, I think to a large extent this is okay. So we have our forearm. So then we also still go back. You know what? Let me bring this out. Okay, you know what? Let's leave it there. So I have this the overall hand, right? Still here. Remember, I had to duplicate it because in formatting it now, right, I deleted some parts. So we needed this to still remain. So before I finally delete also, I make sure, okay, I create my arm underscore arm, right? Then I duplicate it also. It's until I'm done having my upper arm and my lower arm before I'm making it invisible now. It's until I'm done having my upper arm and my lower arm before I delete any of them. So right now, before now, if we have this, right, we have the forearm as the lower arm. Now I need the upper arm, right? So it means I need to delete the lower arm of this particular one now. So I press my A, my direct selection. So from here now, I come here, remove, then also come here. I think I can remove this time around. Yes, and you can see there's a curve going on here, right? I can actually come and make it much more curvy, right? Yes, you see. And make sure I should have made sure I didn't even hold my alt. So once I hold my alt, I make sure the change is only happening in this because I love everything happening here. I love the form that this one has. So with that now, yeah, with that done. So where this is in a nutshell, instead of me wasting time the more, in a nutshell, this is how I do. I format, I format my art, my graphics, and make them ready, or illustration and make them ready for animation. So far that's what we've been able to do. So I can go, all I did here, and I can go on to do it for this arm, right? And go on to do for all this other lady, or I think I will. But this is just the workflow. And sorry, yeah, I can go on and do it for these other ones, but this is just the workflow. Yes, then the next thing is the color. Yeah, to a large extent, I will have changed. Okay, you know what? Let's change. Though this is looking like This is orange, right? If I'm not mistaken, no. This is orange, right? This one, no, let me use direct A. Now, this is orange, right? To a large extent, yeah, I think it looks like the color. Let's just leave it. Let's focus on other ones. For instance, this one, you can focus on making it based on the color scheme we have here. Can focus on making it yellow, right? But look at how the color is relating to one another. Study how this color is in very much harmony with this. It's in the same color bracket. Maybe I need to look on that. There's an apt word for this, but let me just say color brackets. It's in color brackets with this, right? Right. So it makes more sense. The same color that we are using, we also use it for this. So let's just start, but let's just pick, let's just format this. I might look into, yes, and the very way to have, once you have this selected, direct selected, right, you press I to pick a color. So once that is selected, press I to pick. I want to pick this deep, yeah, and after that I click V, yeah, and deselect and actually look at how that is turning out. To a large extent, I think yellow might work better. A and I to select yellow. Let me see. But yellow, okay. And white, okay. It's not everything is not white actually, but one good rule I've learned is that yellow and white they don't go well. So yeah, I think this works better. It's not so much too harsh. So remember how this color behaved. It was very much darker than this one, right? So to a large extent, so since I have this selected and I've picked our color, right? A very good way to come, a very good practice I normally do is that I see come here. Yes, this is your where to change field to change the color. This icon here, I double click on this. No, I need to be okay. Once I have this selected, I have it selected. I need to be on V. So to a large extent, they said, okay, this is a particular thing I needed to select. I have this, I click V before I'll be able to change the color. I come here, double click. So remember, I love the hue. That's the actual color. Now this is the hue. I love it. Yes, because why do I love it? Because I'm maintaining the color code of the client of the brand, right? And I don't want to tamper with that, but I just needed it to be darker. So the way to make it darker is I come to brightness, and come here and drag it down a little bit, making it a little bit darker, right? Yeah, I make it a little bit darker. Mm, you know what? That is not really looking at. But so like this now, I'm not so much this time around. I don't want to dwell so much on the aesthetics, but it's just for you to know how the formatting, yes, how from. But I think I might really need to take my time to like look at the color. But to a large extent, I think the format. Let me even do Control Z. I think this one works better than that very dark. If that's the case, I will only make this one lighter. I come here now. Remember, they need to be of the same color. That's I pressed I now. They need to be of the same color with this. Okay. Yes, but then V. Since I've selected it now, V. I press V. Then come here to change to format the color. So I can come here. That's the brightness. Or I can also do it's very similar to use this option, the H option here. That's the hue option. So this stands for hue, saturation, and brightness. This one stands for red, green, blue. So I can be here and take it a little bit, but this is me tampering with the hue to some extent. Control Z on that. It's me tampering with the hue, but the safest way to do that is just to come here. You make sure that the hue is maintained, but I come here and make it brighter just a little bit and say okay. So you can see that even though they're the same color, but I think I need to make it much brighter to be different with this one from this one. So I select it again. I come here, make it very much brighter than it was. So yes, that's we have that now. So which color that shouldn't be here that is really possibly shouting? Yeah, what are they? Okay, yeah, you can turn all of this to black. That's I'm using direct selection now and shift. I've selected this. I select this again, shift, holding that shift. Uh, to select this one, I may need to unselect. You know what? Let me make this invisible. Let me make this search engine invisible. Oh, we didn't collect this one from this. Should have collected this. Let me take it. Let me take it into yes into here. And I've made that invisible. Then I can select all of this and format the color. So instead of making the video so long, but this is it in a nutshell. So you can use this same principle that I've used now for every other. So yes, so I've selected everything. Okay, you know what? Let me see. Select. They're in the same color. Yes, you can see. As far as it's showing one particular color, just know that okay, everything you are right by judging that everything here is one particular color that you can just reformat to just one particular one too. So once I have that, I press my V. Okay, let's say I select this. What do I mean by that? Once I select this, you can see it's telling you, I don't know here. It's telling you I don't know the color. That's I don't know which color that you've selected. So let me do Control Z on that. Hey, no, that's not what I'm supposed to do. Control Shift Z. So I've done Control Z on that. I continue with this. So I can now press V. With V, it means it allows me to change the color. So I can come here. No, yeah. Instead of changing directly, I can use the color picker to even access that. To access it, this is it to the eyedropper tool, the eyedropper or color picker or the eyedropper tool. I can actually access it, but many times I just press I. The shortcut for it is I. So once I press I, this comes out. Then it allows me to, you know what, change this to black, right? Or should I change it to this? Yeah, which of them works better? I think this is. Well, I've told you that right now I'm not so much focusing on the aesthetics, but just for you to know the formatting, the two, how I used to format this. Then this is also coming out. Yes. So this is also coming out as maybe like off color. But to a large extent, it might actually be complementary in itself. But let's say we don't like this color. So how do we format it? Then if you look deeply, you see that they are on the same color bracket, right? But this is like the brighter version of this, right? This is a brighter version of this. And this particular one, they are the same color. So I can select them and change this, and this, and change. Yes, once I have that selected, I press V now. I said, okay, I've locked them into a particular selected range. Then I press my I2, and say, you know what, let me give it this color. So this is the deep, yes. So that's the deep color there. Then I can come, but remember this one, yes, this is also this I with I selected. This and this were the same color, so let me put them. So, but now let's select the lighter one. But this is the lighter one. So how I approach is that since I have this selected now, I press my I still, and yes, they are selected, right? Then I press V to format. Then I press my fill icon. Then I can come in brightness and make it a little bit much more brighter than it is. So, but you can see even with this using the brightness tool, there is still not very much brighter. So this time around, I'll be forced to go to the hue and take it somewhere here. Yeah, and that's yeah, and that says it. That does it. Though mind you, as I said, this is not so much okay because there is this thing off here still. But this is just so that the video doesn't go too much. The length of the video don't become too much. Yeah, this is just how I do my formatting in a nutshell to like make the color. Yeah, how I go about getting my assets, the site that I do get it, and how I format things, the tools that I use to do all of that in Illustrator. So once I'm done, I press my Control S. Yeah, okay. Remember, he's saying all of this because it was saved in EPS. What do I mean by EPS? Let's go back here. Where is it? Yes, this is EPS. I'm not Illustrator file, and that's why I'm saying all of this. But I think the better way to do it, many times I tend to do Control Shift S. That's to Control Shift S is it gives the option of save as. So instead of saying Illustrator EPS, I rather choose Adobe Illustrator this time around, right? And use and do save. And it gives you the option of which particular. Sometimes it can allow you to save as downgrade it to some other Illustrator. That's imagine if as you're working, the person you are giving the file to only has Illustrator and CS. That's the old version. So you need to downgrade it here. This is your place to downgrade all of that. So you say okay. So that brings us to an end to this class. Or that brings us to an end. I wanted to like show you how to import that, but that's in the next class. We'll focus on class importation of or importation of materials. Yeah, let me bring this out. Importation of material, but this time around, just for you to know how I break things down, my workflow, right? And I format things to suit the overall project, because this time around we are just focusing on this an aspect of the project, right? But we also now need to format it to suit the overall project, both based on the dimension, which is full HD, both based on the dimension and the color. Well, the color, I think to a large extent is off here. Like if I were to take my time, I think I would have to take my time to work on it very well to like have a much more color, so I won't be having more color riots. But this is just it in a nutshell.